Why don't?
Or somebody else can pick up, actually. I mean, he wanted me to keep reading, but
He wanted to keep reading?
I think, but you're the teacher.
Then maybe, so go ahead and keep reading until 5.
Sure.
Just we'll
Do
follow
you want
up
to do
with,
that?
we'll
Do you want to
follow
talk
up with
about the
that.
verbs?
That would be great. And then, so let's go ahead and read through 5, and then we'll
Okay.
come back and, we got some other questions to pick up, so, you can just start with 4 and then read from there.
Okay, yeah, so, okay. La shavek ana le kavi mat a yavi, and then wakat ave ana le el achi wach pre min achak makivani shalom wakayin la.
You might have missed one word there, right? Breath over law.
Shalkate.
There you go.
Shalkate la. Sorry, I did miss that. And let me write this down. Shalkate. So, I am not leaving him alone. Literally according to what my hand reaches or finds. I know that's more of a Hebrew translation. We can talk about it.
Yeah.
But what it means is, as far as I am able, I will not leave him alone. Now, I am working for him, which is a little idiomatic form. So, to my brother Wap pray, from your brother Makivanit, well-being and life, I send to you.
Okay,
I, your brother Makivani, send you well-being and life,
cool,
I
okay,
guess.
good. All right, so let's go back and pick up the, there's a couple questions we have to ask. One quick question I had for you was in line number 1. So if we go back to that, where we have the address, greetings to the house of, or evocative there, the temple of Bonnie and Swan, and then the use of all there, or the, so is that normal in the greeting lines of these letters, or is it abnormal, or something like that maybe?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I guess, I think I probably translated it just, well, so the first part is the greetings, the shalom, then understand too that the temple or the house of Bani and Aswan. And I guess I sort of translated this, the more specific address to the letter,
Okay,
who he's sort of speaking to there. If that, maybe it could be, yeah. It's not just love. It's maybe concerning, something like
Yeah.
that, which is what I would mean.
yeah. What would be the standard form? What do you whatever you normally see, as opposed to, because all here is really abnormal, that's what
Did you have one in the other letter we saw?
I think just standard across, but it's not even that big of a deal, but it usually would be L, that would be the
Well,
directional.
Okay, yeah.
And so, in the Hermopolis, that's usually what we find, and so all here is a little bit abnormal. So it could be something like concerning, like you thought about, it could be some type of variant for the, addressee of the letter.
Mhm. It's tough because then it has your servant, which is, is referring to Sami.
Mhm.
So it'd be weird to say concerning Sami. Or no, Sami
I
is,
think,
I think that's referring to himself,
yeah,
your servant.
you have my lord, Sami, and then.
no, I understand. I guess I'm just thinking if that means anything. So do you think this could just be an error for L, or it means the same thing? Maybe because they're close enough in meaning that you just confused it?
Yeah.
Or is it actually something really different?
Well, no, I mean, it could be an error, for sure, 'cause in the Hermopolis letters, we typically get L. It could be something like, for the benefit of, a little bit more specific, like
That's going to
specifically,
the greetings.
right, for his benefit.
Mhm.
It could be, you do get the use of all when you have, in forms of, all can be used with shalach, to send for the benefit of, and so it could be some kind of shortened form of that. So just kind of a question, it's not standard, and so no necessarily definite interpretation there. But anybody else have an idea on that? What would they?
By L you mean olive lemon, right? Not just the letter L?
Oh, yes, yes. Oh, sorry, that, correct.
No, that's what I thought, but I was just making sure.
Okay, cool. And then let's talk about the blessing formula. So blessing before patach, and then the form of the verb there. How did you vocalize it? And then where's the stress? How'd you reduce? Is it adjussive? That kind of thing.
So I don't remember how I vocalized last time, so it was wrong. So I re-vocalized it as yakzani.
Okay.
As a C previous conjugation, third masculine singular, adjussive, with the first colon singular suffix. With the accent on the penultimate syllable.
Okay.
As I guess would be normal with the suffix.
Yeah, because me won't draw the stress. That's
Yeah.
good.
So the problem is it's a third week verb. So the protoform would have been Yahakziyani, I think.
Yes. The question would be more the vowel after the zayin. When we do see the forms vocalized, we end up getting an I vowel there. So
Because the he fill vowel.
yeah.
We'll see.
But historically, it probably would have been
Did I say
A vowel.
that? Yahakziyani?
Yeah, that's what I heard that, I know.
Oh, you did? Oh,
I
okay.
meant- I meant to
Sorry.
say
No, I
Yahakziyani.
thought you were
Okay.
saying Zani, so that's my fault. Okay.
Yahakziyani. Yahakziyani.
Oh, you're adding an extra yod in there.
Why do I do
Wait,
that? I
how-
did that the
okay,
last
what are
time.
you-
No, well, this is
what
the
are you
protoform.
adding?
This is a proto. That's why I have the Y back there. 'Cause
Okay.
this
Oh, I
this
see
is-
what you
I'm
mean.
just trying to reconstruct the localization based on the protoform. That's so that yod to me is the third root consonant.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So it's a yahak teal.
Right. I don't know that we would get the, so when you get, so when you add a suffix to adjussive form, the form of that suffix is kind of what we're concerned about. So I think you're adding an A vowel in there.
Because the adjussive is the short form, so maybe it would have been yahak. That's what the problem is.
Yeah. Okay, can I write on the board?
Yeah.
Because I think I'm getting confused. So, all right, so we have, yeah, hak, and then something like this, right? No vowel?
Yeah,
Okay, and
and
then,
then the suffix goes in there. I
Right.
guess that's the step I was messing up.
yeah, no, that's fair. This is what we're concerned about here, because when you get a non-adjussive form, you end up getting what I think you're doing, which is some form of either the energetic ana, which turns into, in Aramaic, the ina form. So you'll end up seeing a form of, noon, like this, anan, I vowels, right, inani, like that would be a non, that'd be an indicative form, as opposed to here where we end up just getting the I vowel plus the ni form without the dagesh. Does that make sense to you? Anyway,
Okay.
okay. I don't know what that means.
So,
Percents.
okay, so,
Like, so what distinguishes this as adjussive form? I guess that would be my question, as opposed to the indicative form. This is really hard, so I'm gonna be calling you on it.
well, it's whatever would happen because, due to the fact there wasn't a vowel at the end of the verb. That's.
Yeah, right, no, that's, I see what you're saying. There's one other thing that's odd about Aramaic that distinguishes justice from indicatives in that. Does anyone have how to distinguish justice from indicatives and verb forms with?
Well, there's,
I got it, sorry.
the third week in the second feminine singular, second and third masculine plural, second masculine singular, and that's really out of order. Basically, the second and third with second and third persons with third week will show H for the indicative and Y for the adjective. But that's
Okay.
that's without a
I see.
suffix.
Yes,
That's without a
correct.
suffix. So because it had the suffix, I just didn't know what to do.
I know, it's kind of.
And I looked everywhere,
Yeah,
and I couldn't find any help. I looked all over the grammar.
yeah.
So I
No, it's really,
thought it was really difficult.
it's super messy, I agree. Anyone have an idea of why we would see this as adjective as opposed to an indicative form?
Besides what you already said about the energy?
I know, yeah, that's,
Okay.
go ahead.
The energy,
Yeah,
you expect another and.
yeah, so the distinguishing factor between the indicative and the adjective is that in the indicative forms, you see the energic noon always when you get the addition of the suffix. In the adjective forms, you won't have that. The question that Muraoka brought up in the grammar was, in Old Aramaic, we only see the energic noon coming with a 3ms suffix. Because the adjective, in some dialects of Old Aramaic, gets the lamed at the front, so there's no need to double mark. And so his question was, has the energic fully integrated into all forms of the adjective plus suffix? Was that clear?
Yeah, where in Morocco is that? Because I, like Joey, was searching.
I know, he has it all over the place. He has it on, okay, so pages 145 through 147, he has a discussion about that.
This is the PDF.
This is in the PDF,
Okay,
yeah.
thanks.
Oh, no, that's not the
But
PDF.
according.
Yeah, that's according to you. And then,
Just Drew's got a weird addition and I want to make sure it's not.
Sorry, 145 to 147, he also has a discussion of, that's not as relevant, I guess, but,
This is the Egyptian grammar,
yes. He also has a function of the adjective on page 198, and, yeah,
So if this would have been indicative, it would have had two ends written.
yeah.
Because that end is just part of the suffix, not the energic. It's just
Correct.
it's just taken up with the.
Yeah.
That just goes with the first common singular suffix.
Yeah, so if it were indicative, we would definitely see this form
Yeah.
of the double noon.
Okay.
The problem with that is we don't find any forms of indicative plus energic noon plus one CS suffix in Egyptian Aramaic, and so the question is, you have forms of the plural with that, but you don't have forms of the singular, so then it's some kind of question like, okay, well, has it not developed at this point yet? Or is it not being written twice, or so, it's kind of an iffy question in general.
So can we just vocalize it? Yakzini?
Yeah,
Without just that's without the vowel. It's not.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Super.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
And the lesson form, I think you guys probably saw, but it gets used with this verb, and then also gets used with the verb of chava, like we saw in Biblical Aramaic. So it's the same blessing formula, but yeah, that was not a question? Okay.
Yeah, I just, I really, I'm really confused about what I was saying here on my computer screen. And, did I ever say Yakzani? I don't know why I said that. I had Yakzini written down, but like, wasn't for good reasons. So this is just really helpful, and I had a hard time with this.
It's a really good, I think it's a
Yeah.
difficult form. So just to note, if we have a, I tried to go through this last time to make sure I had it all. So if you have a plural of the third week, okay, you'll have like, you have known, right, or noun in this dialect, you'll double that final noon and add the ani suffix. Which would be what would be expected.
You get a U vowel then, once you double the
So this shows variant forms. Some forms keep the O vowel, like we would expect, and then some vowels take a U, some forms take a U vowel, in vocalized forms of Aramaic, so kind of some question. For sure in strong roots, it's gonna be the U vowel, but you get both.
I only found one form in Rosenthal for the third weeks, and I had
The U?
the kibbutz, but,
Yeah.
I didn't know if there were other vocalized forms available.
I think Targum shows some O vowels, which it retains the O. but then Rosenthal cites the U vowel, so it's, yeah, we would expect an O vowel, I would say, but it ends up falling out. Okay, have we thoroughly beaten the horse to death? All right. One question I had for you would be, so this is a C form, specifically more, an off-fill or a hot-fill?
Off-fill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One note, I thought this was really helpful. Horton and Greenfield, in their article, go through 6 distinctive features of the Hermopolis letters, because they're very odd in the scheme of Egyptian Aramaic, and so I thought I would bring those to bear on the discussion, because I think it affects how we view morphology and lexical items. So the Hermopolis letters, as we know, there are 8 of these. 7 of them are written by the same scribe. 1 of them, letter 7, is written by another scribe. So the letters, the first thing they noted was they're marked with defective spellings. So you get forms of bite written with and without the yod. You get forms of takum written with and without the vav. So we have both plene and non-plene spellings. They're very distinctive for the off-fill forms. So off-fill by far in Egyptian Aramaic is the less frequent form of the C. There are only 45 examples of the off-fill in Egyptian Aramaic in general, and 23 out of 45 are found in the Hermopolis letters. And so they're very, it's clearly some dialectical feature, which I think is really important. They are, and we can talk about this, but when we saw the form of law, for the negation spelled with the hay,
Oh, yeah, that was.
that's, yeah, so there's several forms of that where the emphatic or the negative is spelled with a hay. They note that the phonetic shifts have almost completely taken place. So we see like kazi here is spelled with the dalet. There's no forms of the shin spelled, or of the tha spelled with the shin, the archaic spelling. The dod has completely shifted to the ayin. There's no forms of the kof for words like amr, wool, and things like that. And the noon is regularly assimilated in these dialects, as opposed to it frequently being non-assimilated in the forms of like ant or anf or things like that. But it's often assimilated, we'll see, like we saw here. And then the use of hey and tav to mark the feminine for both feminine nouns and adjectives, and also for the participle. So we'll hit all of those, but I just thought we would state it ahead of time and say that these are across the board important for understanding the Hermopolis papyri.
Can you say the last one just one more time?
Yeah, the use of
Slow
no, you're good. The use of hey and tav are both seen for both the feminine noun and adjective, and also for the feminine participle. So we'll run into that also.
Okay, thank you.
I can send you guys that article. That might have been simpler than going through their arguments, but
Yeah,
That's good.
for some reason, great.
Is this the GAW article?
this is one in like Greenfield, 19, yeah. I'll send it out. Real quick question, did you guys see anything about the dating of the letters? I don't think we talked about that.
Paleographically, the Italians who originally did this paleographically put them to the middle of the 5th century. That's the only thing I know.
Okay, that's good.
I did an exhaustive search.
Paleography is not my,
There's
Okay,
no
but-
dates.
yeah,
There's no dates like we do on the archive.
yeah.
I don't know where I found this, I found late 6th, early 5th.
Okay.
But I have no reason for that, I just,
Yeah.
that's what.
The standard discussion on that is Nave, his article in 1971, and I can send it to you. It's a really brief discussion, but he goes through all the forms of the letters, and he associates it with the Meisner papyri, which is one of the earliest Aramaic papyri, dated 495, and so he said it's closest in form to that. So he suggests maybe 20 years post that, based on the forms of the letters. All that to say, it's helpful to know that these idiosyncrasies that we see in the Hermopolis letters are not necessarily late dialectical features. We think they're, or later development features, they're more of a dialectical. Kind of interesting. Okay. Wonderful.
I have a quick question on
Yeah.
just the last question on that verb. So So in the Othel, does the ha suffix just go away? So is it just yak, z, me? Like that ha just goes away? Is there, like, is that a vowel gonna be long now? I'm just,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
when the Othel goes to Othel, what happens to those vowels?
Yeah, so there's some question as to whether in these forms, whether it's a true off-fill or whether it's just syncope of the A, which both are possible. It's probably an off-fill form, but it could be either formally. And in those forms, it just is, there's a phonetic shift that happens from the hey to the aleph. And so in these forms, there's no lengthening, necessary lengthening of the vowel or anything. It's just now it's gonna be ya. So it's, yeah.
So there's no aleph written here either.
Right.
So the aleph is off, so it shifted
Right.
to aleph and the aleph dropped out.
Yeah.
And when the aleph dropped out, what happened to the a vowel?
I think the A vowel stays the same in the off, yeah.
So it's ya, ha, then that goes to ya, ah, and then when the aleph drops out, what happens so you have two A vowels next to each other now.
Right, the off-fill, the off-fill forms, the off-fill forms are not gonna show the aleph in the prefix forms.
Okay.
So, you'll never get a ya-ah form. So it appears that you have it's almost like the aleph is I haven't done enough reading on this, I should be honest. The aleph is almost like a vowel holder in that case. It's like a true glottal stop in the sense that it's starting a vowel. Like all words in English that start, with a vowel, start with a vowel stop. So in that sense, when it's in the perfect, then it's actually just glottal stop starting the vowel there. And in the imperfect, when you get a prefix, it'll just be the yod plus that a vowel, which we have. There's no necessary, lengthening of that vowel or anything. Have you guys read more on that? What I.
Only the Hebrew does the same thing, we use the A and there's no lengthening of the vowel as a result.
Yeah, so I wonder why, but I haven't really looked into that actually, so it's a good question, I need to read up on that.
So just I think I followed that, so just to be sure, this would just be vocalized ya, and then some sort of stop, and then ak, z, right?
I think there would be no remnant of the stop there. Is that what you're asking?
So I guess my question is, are these two A vowels are just next to each other? That I feel like that.
I understand. I think all this is saying, so historically speaking, we have this with the yaha form.
Right.
But once the hafil, once you have a shift from this to the glottal stop,
Right.
in the prefix conjugation, you don't even see a remnant of this. You actually just end up getting, it could be something like that, but really what this glottal stop is saying is just starting a vowel, and because the vowel isn't word initial, there's no need for the glottal stop at all. So it ends up just being yeah,
Okay.
because there's no need for the glottal stop
Okay.
at all.
Thanks.
I would say, okay.
Yeah. And I think you said this, when I was just looking up,
That's helpful.
the aleph in Egyptian Aramaic, and I think in Biblical Aramaic, only appears when it begins a word. So like if there's a prefix on it, you're not going to get the aleph really anywhere
The
except
aleph and the afel only shows up word initially.
Yeah.
Thank you, that's helpful.
Yeah.
I
You
didn't
said
want to
that in
say that blanketly, because I was like, I'm sure there's probably
Yeah.
forms where there's ya. So
No, you hinted at that, and I was like, yeah, that's probably right. So I went and checked it.
Thank you for the verifying that. Okay, that's good.
I think we do get instances in other dialects, but not in ours. I think. Yeah.
Where is that actually? That you have that? That's helpful.
It's in Baroque Important Grammar on page 113.
Okay, that's helpful.
Footnote. It continues in footnote 521.
Thank you. Okay. Great. Okay, so let's do you want to run through the names real quick? These are pretty much all Egyptian, so you can bring your,
We might have had one more thing to say about
oh, that's right,
the
bring it up.
verb tet sade pe.
Okay,
Um,
yeah, we definitely need to.
it seems like there's So, the first, maybe I can just verify that
Yeah, no,
this
go
is
for it.
right, the first yod verbs, it seems like you would want them to show the dissimilation of gemination by nasalization, because they show up like first noon, the first round, there's a gemination that happens.
Yes.
But that never happens, I guess, in Egyptian Aramaic, the noon, with the,
You mean with this root specifically?
so, cause like Leander wants to localize this tiz-zeef with two Z's.
Right.
Or tits, I guess tits-zeef. But it's like, there's no evidence for that, so I changed mine to just tit-safe, or tit-zeef, cause I do the homework, but,
Yeah. Did you reduce your first round?
yes. Yes.
No, I'm just curious. No,
No, it should be reduced.
There's-
I didn't, yes.
No, that's right. No, I'm curious. I think
Yeah.
it could be either. Actually, we get different forms of that.
Was it, because originally I didn't, because I had it doubled, but then
Yeah.
I guess there's just no evidence that there's any doubling, because I guess the Targum corroborates that.
Yeah.
So I went with tit-safe.
Okay. Yeah. No,
Does that sound okay?
That's not. No, that definitely sounds good. I think that in Syriac sometimes shows forms of a yaktul pattern, but the more common pattern appears to be the yaktil as you took it as. And some forms show a doubling of the tzadeh,
Yeah.
but I think it's very much dialectical, so it's hard to know here
Mhm.
what we're
That's true.
seeing. I think the data that you brought forth, that it never appears with the noon, is a
Yeah.
good example of, even though the noon would be assimilated, but is a good data for saying reduce single tzadeh. I like that.
So then-
What does the idiom mean in that?
To not worry? Is that one? That's how I can, to not worry about something or somebody.
Yeah, so the Yetzaf plus Lamed is to be concerned about.
Yeah.
Good.
I don't remember which names we talked about last time.
I don't know how much, so did you talk about the mama name?
No, I don't think we did, actually.
Okay.
So that's apparently Egyptian. Grelot suggests it comes from this a word that means palm, or date palm, which there is a word mama or something like that,
Mhm.
but there's no attested name that resembles that.
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
I mean, you get a lot of like these, I guess you call it reduplicated names. Like Pepi the king, everybody, Pepi the second, the king that reigned like 90 years or something ridiculous. So this could be something like that, so who knows?
Okay.
So,
What I thought was interesting, if it comes from that, it has the olives, right? It's mama, right?
Yeah,
The two L's.
it
So,
does, and olive.
yeah, so we'll see consistently the olive from Egyptian not being represented. Like for
Yeah.
the forms of like, the Harut's form and stuff, which has an olive, right? So, anyway.
Yeah,
So it's just kind of interesting, the olive from Egyptian doesn't get represented as an olive.
I don't know, assuming that it was the actual glottal stop language, maybe if it would have been historically another phony, maybe it would be, but we'd have to look. But
Yeah,
it
I
might-
wasn't sure what it would have been at this point anyway, so I don't know. I was looking at this, I don't know.
Yeah, that's tough.
So I think we have the
Yeah.
Bitia form or Biti or
I just took it as a Semitic name, my house,
Oh, okay.
as a hyperchoristic name, and there's Akkadian names like that, Bitia, Bitia. Again, this is from Grelot. I guess if it was an Aramaic name, it would be Bitia. Bitia is like an Akkadian
Mhm,
version of that,
mhm.
so, that's what I went with.
Okay. Any other options that you guys saw for that one? That's a hard one.
No.
Okay.
No,
I think, yeah, that's fine, that sounds good. Okay, so the Raya form,
Raya, it sounds Semitic, and I can just compare it to biblical Hebrew Raya, meaning beloved. So it looks like a feminine name. It looks like so Raya is taking it as like the beloved one, feminine. Maybe it could also be related to the friend word and be hyperchoristic or something. And I guess there's names like that in like Ray-E, I think is a Hebrew name. Ray, I-N-E. And then you have like longer forms like Reuel or something, so
Okay.
but I just went for the beloved one,
Yeah,
because it matched nicely with the Hebrew word.
yeah. Likely we probably don't have forms of Yahweh in these names, so.
That's true, and I keep forgetting that this isn't.
No,
That's true.
yeah.
Yeah, so beloved one, there.
It is.
Yeah.
Harutz?
So I localized it out.
Sorry, it's like,
Or Wotes. So that's the Egyptian name, it's the god Horus, and Wotes is from the Egyptian Weja, which means to be sound or to be flourishing or something. And I vocalize it that way because Hor is how it's pronounced with the O vowel, and the Semitic Tzadeh corresponding to the Egyptian Jah is not a problem, that those always line up. So what I said Wajah in Egyptian was probably Wadzah or something, it was Africa, you know. And I found vocalizations of this in Coptic, it would have been Woj as a short form, and it could have been Ujai as a longer form. Actually, no, so Woj is a verbal form, but it would correspond to the same syllabic pattern here. So it looks like, because it would have ended with an aleph in earlier Egyptian,
Right.
and that probably just went away.
oh, okay, so that, it's
I'm
changed. the way it's-
thinking.
Okay,
And so, yeah,
cool.
the W is definitely consonantal, and I don't know if there's any Greek writing to this word. I didn't write it down, but the Coptic shows that it was a wasn't.
Sorry, what was the meaning of that second element? That
Like to be healthy or to be sound, to flourish, or to, I guess, prosper. Any one of those. Horus prospers. Oh no, I do have a Greek one. Aruotes. Aleph. Hold on, let me think of it. Aleph, Rho, Upsilon, Omega with the accent.
Aruotes.
Tau, Eta, Sigma.
Mm.
But Greek, you know. And I think that's all the names.
Yeah, thank you, that is helpful. Oh, walk free, last one, sorry. From line 5.
Oh yeah, that's another.
Sorry.
So
No, you get it.
I vocalized it walk, pray. It might have been maybe woke, pray, but I, you know,
It's all
this isn't an
again,
Egyptian
that's
class
like, yeah.
anyway, so.
No, I
But
know.
it means ray is generous, and it comes from wak, yid, ray. And the yid just becomes the p. It's hard because the word yid means heart, and it's probably cognate with lave in Semitic. Don't ask me how, like, it was probably originally an Egyptian glottal stop, corresponds to an Egyptian L, it's really, or a Semitic L. I vocalize it that way just because Herodotus and other Greek sources have wafres written. Herodotus has an odd form, he has apries, but the later Greek, I just ignored Herodotus, and so wafres is attested in Herodotus, and Coptic for the first part, the wak, which literally means to like, so wakiyad means to like be long of heart, to be generous. In Coptic that shows up as woke. So actually it should be woke pray. I changed my mind, I'm sorry, I said
Okay.
walk pray.
No, it's fair.
And I'm sorry, this is too much information.
No, no, it's-
Stop me.
I think it's helpful to know who these people are, right? Because
Yeah.
clearly they're Egyptian, they have a ton of Egyptian influence, right? So it's good to, I think it's interesting from a standpoint of who these people are and who they're interacting with, so I think it's.
And Re is the sun god, and I was always confused because just in common parlance you hear people say Re, you hear people say Ra. And those are both attested vocalizations of this god, of this name in Akkadian. And you have what would correspond to Re being when it's emphasized, especially solo final, and the Ra would be the accent. Like this would have been probably transcribed something Riyad, so it would have been Re, probably. But when the Ra element is earlier in the word and is not accented, it seems to be transcribed Ra. So here I did it with this I vowel, which probably would have become an A sound in Egyptian at this point, and it would have been in Aramaic too, I guess. And in Coptic, indeed, it's Ray in various forms. So woke pray. Woke pray.
You need to write that article up because no one has done that.
Of what?
For the Egyptian names in this
Oh.
text, they kind of just say it off.
I found that Grillo in
Did
his
Grillo?
index, he does, because he goes to the Greek. I don't know if he knew Egyptian, but he always cites like the Egyptian, the hieroglyphic correspondences. And I think he vocalizes based on the Greek, which is usually pretty good. It's better than what TAD does. It doesn't, not that it really doesn't matter, but you know.
Yeah.
But as far as understanding what the Egyptian sounds would have been, it's a little tough, it's a little harder, and it's fun. I have fun trying to wrap my mind around it.
What's that citation? Grillo?
Yeah, Grillo, document aramaic,
So I assume he's spelled.
Grelot, and I forget the series,
I don't remember
but
either.
I know where it is in the archives.
Okay.
It's a big fat paperback, and he's got a really good, nice index for proper names like that.
Okay, so let's go back to some syntactical issues in 4 and 5. Sorry if we didn't worked on these
That's
lines.
fine.
Yeah, okay, so we kind of talked a little about the negation with the hay, so
Mhm.
that's fine. Yeah, so then for the form of my hand is reaching, what verbal form should you take that as? And
I took the form as G suffix conjugation. And I took the root mem tet aleph, which corresponds to the Hebrew matzah.
you took it as a suffix
I
conjugation?
took it as suffix. Except it applies mat a. Yeah. That's how I go.
Okay, okay.
With the with the suffix, with the third masculine singular suffix.
For my hand is reaching him or something? Is that what you
Okay,
did?
then I found why I'm wrong, because yod is feminine.
Yeah.
So it should have, so that H is this step is, okay, the H is the, so it's a participle probably.
Yes, yes.
Okay, feminine singular
Yeah,
participle.
perfect.
So it'd be, ma, ta?
Yeah.
all
With
right?
reduction, yeah, you're good, you're good.
Ma, ta? Do my party, ma, ta?
Mata.
Okay,
Yeah.
because yod is feminine, that's right. And that was a question I had, and I thank you.
You're good. No, you're good,
It was
that's
answered.
good.
So, I have another question about it.
Yeah.
The Aramaic root means to reach, arrive, come upon, which is cutting with Hebrew matzah, and which in Hebrew means primarily, I guess, like to find, but has more derived meanings also. So I found here that it was better to translate it more Hebrew-wise, like whatever my hand should find. Then, I guess this really is just a matter of, this probably isn't a really good question, I guess, but. Because it means whatever I'm able to do, and it's like whatever my hand is, whatever my hand finds the wherewithal, you know,
Yeah.
or comes across the wherewithal. I guess that the come, to, arrive, reach works there too.
Yeah.
Is
That's
is this me getting way too?
No, I mean,
Is it-
it's interesting to know the origin of idioms, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to know, because, I mean, we find this in other texts with the specific meaning of to be able to, or something, so the origin of that is possible. And then the spelling here with the aleph, did you see anything particular about that? I thought this was kind of cool.
At the end of the, oh, okay, yeah, I did. Yeah, so it seems significant that it's there, right? That it wasn't just apocryphated or whatever the I guess lost.
Sacrament.
So was it? I mean, I guess is it a historical writing, or is it just it still had it was still just a consonant? I mean, is that okay?
Yeah, so that's a question,
Yeah.
is whether,
Yeah.
Stephen, you have anything to say about that? Since you're in the consonantal aleph
Yeah.
camp? I didn't mean to
No.
call you out if you had no. Did anyone see? Yeah.
The more important to note that the feminine participle is a place where this aleph does get conserved, at least in the orthography. Whereas elsewhere in the paradigm, it'll be missing, not frequently.
Okay.
The third aleph.
Yeah, so even in the Hermopolis letters, you get the same idiom, only with the imperfect, with the loss of the aleph. And I think Moroka talks about forms of third aleph roots that have suffixes or, morphological, features at the end, then it will retain the consonantal aspect of the aleph.
Yeah, because, and that was the odd thing, is that normally the third alephs have merged completely.
Completely, yeah.
With the third weeks, but here they haven't.
This specific phonetic environment preserved the glottal stop, because you haven't, I don't know how, but interestingly enough, so it helps Stephen's standpoint.
I don't know, it does,
So
it seems to.
they're in
Something's in
process.
There you go.
It's not complete.
That's so true.
Who would?
And I think you did this correctly, but tell me about the line after the lay, or the li, however you pronounce it.
I'll just retranslate it? Or,
Yeah, what did you do with that? The la shavich, and na le or li, and then line? Where it just has the number, I'm sorry, line 4, fourth word in, there's just a check mark, or a line, like a number.
oh, I missed that.
Oh.
Did I miss? Oh, I guess I just thought it was a word divider or something, which wouldn't make any sense. No, I'm sorry, I didn't do anything.
No, it's okay, I think that's how I took it at first, too, I was like,
Because there's really no other other ones. There's numbers later.
yeah. Did anyone see anything on the usage of that?
At all, maybe? Like,
Yeah, I mean, maybe a one is like some sort of indefinite article.
yeah.
Here, seemingly, kind of adverbial, like, at all.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And they cited a couple of Moroccan importance, I did a couple of other ones, page 240.
That's helpful. Yeah, I think they even talked about its usage meaning alone or as one. Just don't leave him by himself in the sense of usage of the number in that way. So it could be either some type of indefinite or it